I want to start today's episode with this quote from 1983 from the great Freddie Hubbard. I sometimes think it's the perfect record, not in the sense that there's absolutely nothing you can improve a little, but that it was the sound of a man getting his concept together for the first time and finding that it worked. Matt, would you like to tell us what album this is this week?
Absolutely. The album that we're going to talk about this week is Oliver Nelson, The Blues and the Abstract Truth. It was released on the Impulse label on LP and CD, and it was recorded in 1961. So Oliver Nelson. and
Yeah,
I, I've
boy.
been I've been looking forward to this episode kind of since we started the journey. Well, since we made it to the album on our journey, let's put it that way. So, hey, give me 2 minutes of what your weekend music was like.
My week in music, I'm going to stretch this out to about 3 weeks ago in current. I've started my cycling again. So this would be my fourth week to actually get up in the morning and go. And in those mornings, I've been able to drop some music in my ear as I go. So every week, I get my album in really essentially by Monday morning, and on my Tuesday conversation with you by Wednesday morning. This morning, I got out to do some mountain biking with a buddy I hadn't ridden with quite some time. So it's music, 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 and more music. And then on Sunday nights, I'm still struggling, but I'm still learning how to improvise on the trumpet. I've got my
Oh, that's
scales,
awesome.
and this week it dawned on me we talk about major scales. This one I'm working on now is the dominant scales.
Oof,
So it's a
wow.
whole new ball of wax. So what about you?
Yeah. Good for you, man. That's awesome. Yeah, you know what? I saw some live music Friday night. We went out to the winery with some friends of ours and saw Hubie Ashcraft, and he always puts on a good hoot nanny. That's what his little term is they're going to have a hoot nanny. So had some good wine, some good conversation with some great friends, and heard Hubie Ashcraft on Friday night. Saturday, Kendra and I went to Brewed in the Fort, so we got to sample a lot of beers, and we heard a pretty good band down at Headwaters Park Saturday afternoon too. And then, of course, we got two banging albums in our ears this week, and so it was almost just binge overload, like we talked about before we started recording. It was just what to pick. Oh my gosh, I want to listen to this one. Oh my gosh, I want to listen to this one. So yeah, it was a good week in music for me for sure. Yeah, for sure.
It
We
was.
got 6 seconds left.
There we go.
So
Cool.
yeah, wrap it
So
up in 2 minutes.
as usual, let's roll off to the slideshow. Let's get this
All
going
right.
because I know you're excited to talk about this album. I really do.
I,
So
I am so excited. All right. Hey, first slide, whatever you do, do it to jazz. It was not a hard week to do that for me this week for sure. Again, we're going to talk about Oliver Nelson, the blues and the abstract truth. So let's go ahead and move on to slide number 2. Again, the artwork, I absolutely love it. Again, you know, the art ensemble week, I told the story of Kendra and I selling artwork, and we sold a wide a range of art, and abstract art was in that category. So we got to pick abstract art paintings out to sell, and it reminds me of some art that we would, plop down on the floor and sell to a customer. I actually had a chance to meet one of the abstract artists. He came to Fort Wayne and did a show in Fort Wayne. So he's an eclectic dude, but it was cool anyways. So
yep.
love the
Uh,
artwork.
yeah, and I want to say I'm going to flip to the next slide, which is actually the 1999 release of the same album cover. It's the same album, just a little bit different cover, a nice tight shot on Oliver Nelson. So I'm going to switch back to the original. This is what the album cover looked like when it first came out. This next slide that you're looking at right now is the 1990 release that was on CD, basically just paying tribute to the man himself. Uh,
Well, and it's cool because his face is still kind of abstract in there. You really kind of have
it,
to focus in and see his face.
it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right, let's move on to the next slide then. I grabbed a couple of pictures. I didn't find any portraits or artwork of Oliver this week. It was unfortunate because I really kind of deep dive. Did you find any while you were
No,
searching?
I didn't. I love those sketches and the artwork.
Yeah,
Didn't see any.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't see any this week. So the top left picture, the top picture, that's the actual picture that they used in the magazine for the article. And then the bottom picture, he's just so cool looking. Um, dressed up in his suit, his shirt collar's open, and he's just kind of sitting there contemplating. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what's going through his mind? He's probably seeing notes. He's probably putting stuff together, a way to arrange some. I don't know. That's just the way, just what I thought.
Yep.
But he's a cool looking dude, anyways. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. Again, that is another picture of Oliver Nelson on this slide. I love him so much, I just couldn't not put another picture of him on there. But jazz lingo for the day slide. The jazz term we're going to use today is blow. The jazz term for improvise. It has a more mystical aura, but it's also known just simply to play an instrument. That cat can really blow. He can really play. He can really lay it down. But yeah, blow is the jazz term that I picked this week. Yeah, it's a cool term. Yeah, it's just a cool term. Where you can find it. This week's album can be found on YouTube. It can be found on iTunes, YouTube Music, CD, and LP. LP. LP.
So I never did do it this week. It is still in its plastic wrapper.
Okay.
There was a element where, yes, I told you that I was going to open a nice bottle of bourbon, put it over a big ice cube, and sit back and listen to it on the record. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So it's still sitting on the shelf, unwrapped. It's still unwrapped. And so but you're going to find out later, I'll never have an issue with sitting down with this album and listening to it. I do want to be in the right mindset to really put it on. And we're going to talk more about why here in a moment. But yeah, I never did. Sorry.
All right. Cool. No, that's all right.
Something I do want to plug on this. Go out and buy the albums. If y'all are thinking about it, if you hear an album that we were super excited about, go buy it. Go buy it for yourself. Have it in your record collection. Have it in your CD collection. Support the musicians in that manner. So I'll let you get on.
Yeah, cool. No, that's a great point. Yes. It's always good to own. If your subscription to Google ever expires or my subscriptions to iTunes ever expires and I'm left musicless, it would be good to own for sure. This album specifically for me. Next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about Oliver Nelson. Oliver was born in 1932 and passed away in 1975. That makes him 43 years old. I did that math in advance because I'm not good at quick math. But I was 5 the year that he passed away. Some of the influences that I read about, he was born into a musical family anyways. His father and his mother both played instruments. He learned to play the piano at 6 and then started the saxophone at 11. So that's what I found for kind of influences. Did you find any other influences while you were digging this week?
I didn't. No.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. His discography, he's got 32 studio albums. He was sideman on well over 100. I wasn't going to sit there and count, because, it's page after page after page of him as a sideman or composing or arranging. So I just put over 100 because that's, huge. But film and TV score, again, he did at least 25 films and TV scores. We'll talk about those coming up here in just a minute in the known for. The generation that he's in is the bebop, the hard bop, the post bop, and the jazz fusion. And yeah. All right. So my love goes through all of those for him. I'll tell you what I've listened to this week. And we'll kind of go over some of those bebop, hard bop, post bop, and then especially the jazz fusion. But let's move on to the known for. He did have his master's degree in music composition. He arranged for Monk, Cannonball Adderley, Sonny Rollins, Wes Montgomery, and Buddy Rich, just to name a few. His arranging, there was, again, a list of who's who of who's the greatest of the greats he would arrange for. So I just picked out a few names. Just yeah, I just picked a few names, especially the ones that I knew already, just
Oh
for
yeah.
the arrange.
Well,
Now,
I do have some to add into that. I had come across this. Nelson also served apprenticeships under Louis Jordan, Erskine Hawkins, and the Quincy Jones big bands. It said in the notes that I was reading, he probably learned the most from working with Quincy. The ability to put all these intervals and expansive shapes and the raw blues feel together. So his experiences, even arranging for some of those cats, also goes to the apprenticeships that he had for the big bands. So
yes,
I think it's crucial as we listen to the clips in the future here to understand that that big band sound is what he also understood very well.
very well. Yes. Um, my man is a fellow veteran musician, so that makes me proud. He served and played with the Third Marine Division Band in Japan and Korea. So I know what a division band is because I was in a division band, and they're grunts. They're hard workers. They do the musical stuff that you would kind of think of. It's not Pershing's Own. That's a very prestigious band. It's not the Harold Trumpet President's Own band. He was in a division band working hard musically, and he probably had to do jazz. He probably had to do concert band. He probably had to do Dixieland and all the small group combos that he had to do as well. So I know it makes me proud to say that he was a veteran musician. So
I don't want to mess it up, but what do Marines say? Hooah,
simplify, do or
simplify.
die.
Yep.
I don't know. Well,
Sorry, Uncle Ernie.
I was going to say we'll have to have a Marine we know come on the episode to tell us what they say. So Oliver also did again the film and TV scores. I just named a few on here. The few that I knew: Columbo. I used to watch that show.
Mm-hmm.
The $6 Million Man. Oh, I definitely watched that show. The Bionic Woman. So those were just some of the scores for TV that he did. He also did some movie scores. 6 Degrees was really easy this week. It was no. Well, you probably went around the block, around the barn a couple of times looking for a 6 Degrees, right?
Actually not. We'll continue. Go ahead. Tell me what you got. Tell me what you got.
You found an even easier one. Did they?
No.
Okay.
No. Go ahead and tell me what you got,
All right.
and I'll
All
tell
right.
you why I'm kind of chuckling.
Okay. So Oliver played with Bill Evans on the album "The Blues and the Abstract Truth." Bill Evans again played with Miles Davis. It was kind of easy to find as a collaborator on Miles's site. So the Blues and the Abstract Truth was the only appearance though of Bill Evans with Oliver Nelson. So this is the only time that they worked together.
Now, it's really funny because if you just look at the list of the names that are on this album, you got Roy Haynes and Paul Chambers. Both played with Miles as well. So it seems like, we deal with this a lot, going back even to trying to dig up history on Jelly Roll. There are these pockets of musicians that have played with each other over the years because of their styles or locations. Paul Chambers, Roy Haynes, and Bill Evans all kind of ran in those similar circles. So it didn't surprise me. I just looked at the album and went, okay, how many other people played with Miles on this album? So, yeah, there were a lot of musicians, not a lot of, 2 additional musicians had played with Miles, so our 6 Degree goes. I just put on the screen here the slide that shows who was on this album. Freddie Hubbard on trumpet, Eric Dolphy on the alto sax and flute, of course, Oliver Nelson on tenor saxophone, and he did play the alto saxophone on Teeny's Blues. George Barrow is on the baritone saxophone, although you don't hear him solo or a lot of noise from him. Trust me, he's there. Bill Evans, piano. Paul Chambers on bass, and on the drums, Roy Haynes. So that's the lineup, and I mean, you look at that, and many of them have crossed paths with Miles and many of the other musicians. So you could have gone 3 degrees, 4 degrees, 5 degrees, but I find it humorous that both of us went to those 3 right there. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's finish off the slideshow with the Today in Jazz History. Today is September the 18th. And what I found is the alto sax player Charlie Parker records Parker's Mood with John Lewis. Parker's Mood, not Parker's. This is Parker's Mood with John Lewis in 1948. Then Lester Young and Charlie Parker record Embraceable You at Carnegie Hall in 1949 on this date, September the 18th. Got a quote at the bottom of that slide from Oliver. I hate to think of jazz as black and white or something political. I added the or, it's a comma in there, but you know what he's talking about. I hate to think of jazz as black and white. You and I have had discussions after discussions after discussions of race relations in jazz and how it makes me a better person to listen to jazz because I can kind of relate. I can kind of see. We don't need to get into it. I'm just simply, that was important to me to put it in the slideshow because of our personal discussions on the issue. So I appreciated
music,
that.
Man, it's music.
Yes.
Who cares? Can the man blow? Does the man got rhythm or does he not? How does Miles say that?
That's right.
Can the cat play or not?
That's right.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I then went ahead and added some things from 1961, so I'm going to drop that slide in right now over this. And I'm going to talk about the first one after I go through the whole list, so remind me.
Okay.
So in 1961, Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin is the first man in space. Writer Ernest Hemingway dies. The Berlin Wall is completed. The birth control is introduced. The birth control pill is introduced. Writer Joseph Heller's novel Catch-22 is published. Cuban exiles attempt to overthrow Cuban leader Fidel Castro in the Bay of Pigs. John F. Kennedy becomes president. Ornette Coleman's avant-garde quartet disbands. And Downbeat magazine prints several articles attacking Ornette Coleman's music and the current free jazz music of John Coltrane and Eric Dolphy.
Whew.
So that was a lot in history, but I want to go back to the Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space. And
wait. Ready? Hey, Gagarin, right?
Gagarin.
Okay.
You may want to think about Gagarin's point of view. I'm thinking this because in just a few weeks, you may want to remember that. Gagarin's point of view. So, anyways, there's 1961 in history.
Hey, okay. Since we're doing that, I pulled up the site, 5 essential albums of 1961 jazz albums. So you got John Coltrane, My Favorite Thing, is number 1 in 1961. Ornette Coleman, Double Quartet, is number 2. You got my man Oliver Nelson is number 3, Blues and the Abstract Truth. And then Eric Dolphy, Out There, is the name of the album in 1961. The other one that you've got, we'll break off and we'll listen to a few clips, but Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, A Night in Tunisia. And that's important to me this week as well.
I'm glad you had that.
Just saying. So yeah, those are some other essential albums in 1961. That's always interesting to me. You know, we talk about 59 a lot just because of the bangers that came out in 59. So 58, 59, 60, and 61, for me, when I see those years in jazz, I'm just like, let's see what else happened. You know, let's see what else came out those years. So it's always interesting to me. Yeah. Do you have a clip in mind, or can I pick the first one?
I need you to pick the first one.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. Stolen Moments. I just got to tell you here, I'm just going to say it. Back on Winton Week, you said that Black Codes from the Underground ruined you. Blues and the Abstract Truth has ruined me. This album shook me so hard. This album is a 9.5 on the Richter scale. So I just want to play from 2 minutes. It's going to be a longer clip than we normally play. I hope that's all right with YouTube, but it's going to be from 2 minutes to 3 minutes and 10 seconds. I just want to play Stolen Moments, my man Freddie's solo, and it goes right into the flute solo. So
Oh yeah, you need to hear Eric. So let's
without further ado.
Clip.
Okay.
Oh man, I was going to tell you to keep that bad boy rolling.
Okay.
I get to hear Don Braden play the flute when he's in town for Texas Jazz and Blues camp, and to hear that from Eric, I'm just like, oh yeah, Matt. I think you were about to start crying.
No, I did. I'm sorry. It moves me so hard. You know, I love the weeks where you and I turn the page and we both say to ourselves, who's this cat? We don't know him, never heard of him. And then out of that, we run across Oliver Nelson.
Yeah.
I just, those are mind blowing to me that we've never heard of those names before. We've never heard, I mean, I had probably heard of Freddie Hubbard before, but this takes it to a whole new level. It just takes it to a whole new level. It does move me, and I knew that I was gonna. I can listen to the album while I'm washing dishes and not cry, but man, you put me in front of the camera with you, and it does. It just moves me that much. And if you, oh yeah, all right. So all right, you want to pick a clip? Let's pick let you pick a clip.
Well, it's weird because I was all over the place on which clip I really wanted to hear from this audio. And I thought for the first time, maybe this week, I'm going to do a recording of me just listening to each song. And that way I can have that for YouTube so you can listen to all of these songs as I listen to them. It'd be like, come listen to this song with me, or come listen to this album. It's weird to me because I don't have a specific time frame, but Teeny's Blues covers such a wide range of music in its 6 minutes of stuff. It'll blow you away from beginning to end just because, first of all, it's straight blues. That's what we think about with blues. The solos in there are phenomenal. They have such a fun time with the blues. So I think that at like 1 minute to 1 minute and 30 seconds is a pretty good window to start. But let's take a listen.
So I always laugh. That's a great clip. I always laugh when I listen to Teeny's Blues because you've got, and I in my mind I'm thinking, what analogy can I use? You've got a Cadillac Escalade, right? Flowing down the road, and it's a smooth ride, and it's a beautiful day, and you just got your car washed, so it's nice and shiny. You worked on your rims, and so they're all nice and shiny. You're in this beautiful Cadillac Escalade, and you got some knucklehead in the back seat. Wah, 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 wah. That's what when Eric Dolphy comes in for his solo. He's the first one to solo on Teeny's Blues. When Eric comes in. That's all I can think of. Man, we were in this beautiful vehicle and you're ruining my ride. Wah, 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 wah. I didn't know what other analogy to use, but
I think that's awesome.
oh my gosh, I had so much fun listening to this album. I really did. Oh, here, I do. I have one more clip. Can we play one more?
Yes.
And we'll just do a 30-second clip. This one is Hoedown, and this I love Hoedown because it's a tribute to Aaron Copland's Rodeo, and I know that you've heard Rodeo because they used to use it on the beef commercials. It's what's for dinner. So let me play 30 seconds of Hoedown.
Hold down. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
The whole album is just full of fun and excitement.
Yeah. Yeah, his arrangements are great. You know, the way that he voices the instruments. You talked about the Barry sax a little bit, and I mentioned this before we even started recording. I didn't recognize the Barry sax in the album, even though I looked at the article, I read the list of names. It's when you're listening to it, it's not something that stands out. Now, you know, I'm used to going to see Three Rivers Big Band, and Chuck Schurak plays the Barry sax in the big band, and you can tell when he's playing because it's womp womp, you know, and then the bass notes are going. I had a hard time hearing the Barry sax in this album. Not that I minded, but you know, the way that he voiced it, the way that Oliver voiced the album, he didn't have to stand out with that Barry sax. He just, like you said, added support, right?
Yeah, he added support. I think he arranged it for that. It was support for the bass. It was support for the bass line. George Barrow never got any solos in it, but I might use the term texture. The Barry sax was texture inside of the arrangement. And that was why I wanted to add in his time with apprenticeship with somebody like Quincy Jones. When you studied big band, you know how to texture the sounds. The other thing, and maybe it's not texture as the word, but support was it, and maybe spice it up a little bit.
Okay.
The texturing in Teeny's Blues comes with some of those, it sounds like tense. You're playing the wrong notes at the right time together. That's the texture, but then the Barry sax has to be there with a sharp or a flat note just to sound like, are they playing the right tones together? That's what happens in Teeny's, and I think we chose the right start point at 102 because you hear Eric Dolphy go free jazz on everybody. So you've got blues, you got jazz, you got this free jazz going in. And then when you move into Hoedown, it's a hoedown. It's how it starts.
Yeah.
And it is. It's so much fun. I was thinking the rodeo.
Well, and I don't know if you remember the commercials or not, but they played the beef commercials.
It's what's for dinner.
Quite a bit back in the day, and you know that Aaron Copland song is just resonates in my brain. Anyways, I love the whole work by Aaron Copland, but Rodeo in particular, just because of the beef commercial. So, but yeah, you know, I love the article in the magazine. I highlighted a few things. Teeny's Blues has later been used by Steely Dan to open up their concert in 2009. Wouldn't that be cool to go to a Steely Dan concert and hear, like, before the band comes out, you know, they crank the volume up because you know that the concert's getting ready to start, and then Teeny's Blues comes on and you're like, whoa, that's weird.
When you tune in, you start paying attention that jazz has influenced not necessarily R&B, but every line of music. And so, imagine that Steely Dan opens with this.
Yeah,
you're like,
Teeny's Blues. I love the way they break down the song structures in the article. The theme of Stolen Moments lasts 16 bars, but the solos are based on the 12-bar blues. Again, we're still in
connoisseur. Tell me what I know.
Nope, we're still on connoisseurs, and so it's hard for me to count because I get so involved in just listening and feeling the music. I don't, I don't count 1 bar, 2 bars. There's 3 bars. There's 4 bar. I still have a hard time doing. You probably do that, but I still have a hard time doing it just because I just want to focus, especially with this wrapped up in a warm blanket with this whole album.
Well, that's where a glass of scotch with a big ice cube and the headphones comes in.
Yeah.
That's that warm blanket of just listen to the album, and I don't have to be technical about it. Yes, I want to learn how to listen to jazz and become a connoisseur one day, but the reality is, no. Just sit back and enjoy this album because it is. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You do not need to be a connoisseur of jazz to enjoy this album.
Nope.
That in my opinion. And again, if you have not listened to the album, please go put the album on. It is truly amazing.
Is there something you said at the beginning here that it kind of ruins you for jazz? We now know that like Black Codes from the Underground for me, Wynton Marsalis ruined jazz because I have now a gold standard of what I want and need to hear in what I will call jazz. This one shaped you as well. Was it the trumpet player Freddie Hubbard? Was it Eric Dolphy? What is it? Why is it that it shook you so much? And how do you think others might be shaken by it?
Well, okay, here's the thing. Before you came home for the summer, I told you I was going to work on the Stolen Moments solo. And when you listen to it, it doesn't sound complicated. Now, I haven't picked up the horn in 20 years, 28 years. I've, occasionally I'll get it out to play for somebody's wedding or play taps or whatever.
Yeah.
But I thought, okay, it doesn't sound that bad. I could probably work on it, probably get it done. His technical ability, Freddie Hubbard's technical ability, it just blew me away how technical he is. Now, even he said that the solo on Stolen Moments was some of his best recorded work ever. Okay. That's how beautiful the solo is. When I go to heaven, I hope Freddie is standing there and plays Stolen Moments for me when I get there. That's how I feel. Gabriel, take a back seat. I want Freddie up here playing Stolen Moments for me when I get to heaven. So that's just me. So it's the arranging that did it for me. Oliver's arrangements, because again, the Barry sax isn't prevalent, but it's there. Freddie's talent I love Wynton Marsalis. I do. And because we can have 2 gold standards, Freddie for me is now a gold standard of trumpet. And I'll always love Wynton. I'll always admire Wynton, but Freddie Hubbard is right up there on my list as well. So let me tell you, I listened to a couple other albums this week too. The Live from LA album from 1967, it's got that big band sound that you talked about, him arranging for big band. The Skull Sessions from 1975. You want funky sound? You want funk? The Skull Sessions from 1975. Did you do it?
I did, and I'm going to put that up on screen right now so y'all can see the album cover.
That's
now,
some cool artwork.
Personal life, it kind of reflects that right there. So, yeah, he's got the headphones on, just jamming.
Yes.
Yeah, Skull Session. That was a banging album.
Yes. And it's, clearly from 1975, it wouldn't have come out in 61. The funky electronic kind of sound with Skull Session is there in the 70s. And then of course, Blues and the Abstract Truth. And then in 1965, he did another album called The Blues, More Blues and the Abstract Truth.
And I'll put that up now as well.
Yeah, go ahead and put that up. I do like that album. It just not quite as much as the original. There's different artists on the album. He doesn't use Freddie as a trumpet player. The arrangements, it's completely new music. It's not even the same tunes on the Blues and the Abstract Truth, and it is a very good album. But again, not that it's not one of my favorites. It's just I didn't like it as much. So I already told you, it shook me like an earthquake. This album. Did this album shake you?
It did. It did.
Okay.
And this year and last. I mean, what was 11/14/23 we first talked about this. Yeah, it really did. Listening to that, I realized that it's an RVG. a Rudy Van Gelder studio.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
kind of thought about that for a little bit, but that's nitpicky. The album was just killer.
Oh, you want to get nitpicky? You want to get nitpicky at the end of Stolen Moments. Ba-da, 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 ba, ba-da, ba, ba-da, ba, ba-da, ba. Freddie misses a note in there. That's just, again, that's nitpicky on my end, but I notice it every time. It makes me chuckle because it shows that he's human. It shows that he's
Yes.
not perfect. It shows that
Yep.
Oliver says, you know what, man, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. He flubs that one note in that
in the whole song. That's
in the
it.
whole song, and they don't change it, and I love it. So that's nitpicky.
Well, my statement was I'll go back to his works: Skull Session, Midnight Blue, and then More Blues in the Abstract Truth. Just great stuff. I put in some other notes about just particular sounds. It was always a big band sound, no matter how small the group was. With 8 musicians on this, I think it was. It sounds like it could have been a big band. Multiple trumpets, multiple saxes, and Phil got into that some time ago about the arrangements of things and how that works. But it was always so cool to just jump in and go, man, how many instruments are really being played on this?
Right.
Yeah,
I
it's just
know.
a few.
Isn't that cool? In 1999 on the list, and again, we're using the Jazzwise magazine, the top 100 albums that shook the world. They did a list in 99. They did a list in 2006. And the one that we're using is the 2022 version. In 1999, The Blues in the Abstract Truth was number 31. So I'm thankful. Now, here, and in 2006, it was up at 79. Again, 2022 list, we're at 66 on the list. I'm thankful that it is where it's at, because I'm not sure if I'd have understood it quite as much in the beginning. Okay, if it had been 100 or 90, if it had been in the top 10 of the 100, the bottom 10, yeah, you know what I mean.
90 to
I'm not
100.
sure. 90 to 100, I'm not sure I would have understood it as much, but having 34 other albums in my ear and learning as much as we are on our journey, 66 is a sweet spot. I'm upset that it's not going to be in the top 25, because it will be in the top 10 of my list for all-time greatest albums. My top 10. Somebody asked me, hey, give me 10 albums that you enjoy listening to, or the top 10 of your list. Blues in the Abstract Truth will be in the top 10.
Yep.
Easy.
Yep. And here's the weird thing. I'm looking back at my notes. Oliver has been the best find of the year. That's what I put on for that note there.
Okay. I like it. Yes. Best find of the year.
George Barrow doesn't take solos. I noted that when I was listening to it, but his sound through all the albums was so vast and wide. Every album was like a new band and a new sound, and you can't go wrong with anything from Oliver Nelson. That was my notes from November of last year. I wouldn't change my mind one bit about anything from Oliver Nelson. Now,
Nope.
I'm gonna put on the slide here because I want to show everybody this album that we're gonna talk about in just a second. Oliver Nelson, the Argo, Verve, and Impulse Big Band Studio Sessions. If you want some music to blow your mind, it's 3.5 hours of music. I think that's what it is. But every big band session he's done, it's on the screen right now. Oliver Nelson, the Argo, Verve, and Impulse Big Band Sessions. Again, another album, a collaboration
Compilation.
of things, compilation
Yep.
of things, and we dealt with one of those a couple of weeks ago in our own personal music. Sometimes 3 hours of music is a bit much. But you text me the other day, and I said, I'm going to start it. Well, what do you think? And I thought, well, I'm one song in. We just left sax lesson, and I'm like, I'm listening to jazz. Stop texting me. I listened to that album all day, and I kept thinking, surely it's moved on. And that's when I scrolled down. Don't call me Shirley. It's 3 hours long. So I
Right.
was like, cool, I get 3 hours of this. Yeah.
So here's what I found myself doing. Every time I wanted to put on that album, I had to stay away from the bottom album in that list, just because of who was playing on the album. We haven't talked about him yet, so I'm not going to give anything away. But
Come on.
uh, you want me to?
Spoiler coming.
Spoiler. Okay, spoiler alert. Jimmy Smith.
That's right.
Oh, Jimmy Smith. He shows up on the bottom on that last album, and it's just yummy goodness
Yep.
to hear Oliver's arrangements and Jimmy Smith playing the organ. Because wow. I had to avoid it and listen to it in order, like it's presented, because otherwise I'd jump right to Jimmy and that's be the only part of the album I'd listen to. But I did. I love the whole thing. I love the whole album.
So would you say that this was one of our unexpected finds? That I don't recall this last year. I never came across it, never listened to it.
Yes,
Was
this would be an
unexpected
yes.
find.
Yes, definitely. Yes, that compilation CD is definitely an unexpected find. And you know what? Because what you don't know, we wouldn't have known many of the names on that album anyways. And so you look at the album and think, man, 3 hours and 30 minutes. I ain't nobody got time for that. Except when you realize who's playing on the albums and the names stick out and you're like, oh, now I got time for it. So yeah, that was definitely a good find. And that's rabbit holing all week in Oliver's stuff. It was easy. It was landing on a pillow every time an album came on. So, all right, you ready to rate this bad boy?
Oh, I most certainly am.
Okay, let's do it.
Certainly am.
Let's see. We might as well say it at the same time because we both gave it the same score.
3,
ready?
2, 1.
9.5. Yep. 9.5. The only reason I don't know, I would change it. I'd go all the way to 10 for me if I could.
Yeah.
Last year we didn't know what we didn't know because let's face it, we're unconnoisseurs. We're not criticizing anyone's work, but I'd go all the way to the 10 because it's just yummy goodness.
Oh, yeah. And I kind of wonder why we didn't 10.
Yeah.
And I have to say, it probably being at number 66, we didn't know what was really coming. And how do you at 66, we've had a few other 10s over these last months, but I kind of wonder how it didn't get there.
Yeah.
I have my wonderings of that. I don't have suspicions. I don't have any notes that would tell me why. Maybe I gave it a 9.5 because it was only a 36-minute album.
That could be very true. Because you turn around and you're like, more, please, more. I want more. So yeah. I'd be interested to know what our listeners think and a rating. Not what we should rate it, but how they would rate the Blues and the Abstract. I'd love to hear what you guys think of Oliver Nelson's work, and specifically the Blues and the Abstract Truth. So, 9.5. And you know what? I don't even need to justify it because I've already gone back to it over and over and over again. It's the yummy goodness.
Probably 6 or 7 times this week alone, I've gone back to it. So
yeah, but goodness. even throughout the year that again we worked on this. Did it in our personal journey 11.
This, Phil, when you listen to this, we might put Oliver Nelson up against your boy Courtney Pine. These two side by side, just some of the greatest musicians.
Yeah.
Period. And their arrangements, their music, it just So Phil, I think you'll really enjoy this. And Dad, I'm going to put this slide up for Dad because this is the truth behind it all. This is what the blues looks like. And sometimes you got to shake those blues away. And when you do, your look, your demeanor, everything changes to the excitement of that screen. I'm questioning if this would be our viewers' reception of the album, the happy-go-lucky, joyous, or if by chance, when you're done, your rating might look something like that. So, Dad, that's the tribute to you because you're not going to be here because we wanted to be selfish to talk about our boy Oliver Nelson. Now, we've rated it. So, I agree. What would listeners give this album? Put it in the comments below. I try to respond weekly to the comments that come through. If I don't get to them right away, be looking for it. But if we start to see those numbers roll in, we'll introduce those or talk about those next week when we get ready to record.
Sure.
And speaking about that, do you want to introduce next week's album for recording?
I've got it ready unless you want to do it.
It's completely up to you.
All right, here we go. Next week, we're talking about number 65 in the countdown. And again, we're working backwards from 100. So this is actually number 35 that we're working on. Number 65 in the countdown, Betty Carter. And the album is The Audience with Betty Carter. It was released on the Bet Car Records label on LP, and it was released on Verve label on CD. It's Betty Carter is vocal, arranger, and composer. John Hicks on the piano, Curtis Lundy on the bass, and Kenny Washington on the drums. It was recorded in December of 1979. Betty Carter. Now, we've said it over and over again. We're vocal jazz snobs. Okay. So this album better hit hard. Otherwise,
I like the way you phrased that, Lily. That was for you too. We used to say we're not vocal jazz fans, but we had to change our tune, and now we say we're vocal jazz snobs, and our standards for vocal jazz are really stinking high. So if it's not there, it's not there.
Which is, I mean, let's face it, Gregory Porter got a 9, so you better bring it. So tune in next week to see how we talk about Betty Carter, the album, once again, The Audience with Betty Carter from 1979. Hey, we got some bangers coming up, guys. We really do. Come back. I cannot wait to talk about, we're on 66 this week.
Yep.
In the next 5 episodes, we've got some heavy hitters that we're going to talk about. And as excited as I was this week for Oliver Nelson, some three of the next 5, I'm even more excited to talk about. Yep. But tune in. Stay tuned. Keep coming back. Subscribe to the channel. Like the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. And be sure to leave us comments. If you think we're knuckleheads, tell us. And let us know what you thought of Oliver Nelson.
We've been seeing some great comments coming from other people as well, outside of our normal commenters. So we appreciate that. The comment that dropped on Woody Herman's album, yes, we found Zoot Sims. We finally discovered Zoot Sims. This is all part of that journey. We're discovering as we go. And as you find those things interesting, drop comments as well. So hey to everybody who's going to comment. I know who you are already, but also thanks for all the new listeners tuning in that are going to comment.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Hey, have a great week. Put Betty Carter in your ears this week. Come back next week.
That you can find us on the website, theunconnoisseur.com. If you have questions, comments, or anything that you don't want to put on YouTube comments, email us, theunconnoisseur@gmail.com. Check out TikTok, The Unconnoisseur, and of course you're already here at The Unconnoisseur on YouTube. Don't forget, thanks for tuning in on the podcast. Yes, we are on your 3 favorite channels for podcasts as well. So enjoy. Hopefully you can imagine what the slideshow looked like throughout the process of that, but if not, come check us out on YouTube.
All right, cheers. Have a great week.
Cheers, everybody. Bye.